We should be live on Facebook now, hopefully. As I was joking with Joanna, obviously technology is not my thing. I'm going to stick to dog training behaviors, but no, I'm never going to work on TV. So, good evening, Debbie Lacken from Kids Around Dogs, and I'm super happy this evening to be talking to Joanne Hinds. She's not only a colleague, she's a behaviorist as well, but she's an author of 2 books that are very much in kind of the same length of what we do, because it's about kids and dogs and how we can help children to be safer and around dogs, and to keep our dogs happy as well. So Joanne, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being so patient with all the technology things going on here.
Not a problem at all. I'd be the same.
So, John, why don't you tell us a little bit like how you started your career?
So I started really young. I've always loved animals, and then I started out in kennels and well, it was a boarding kennels and rescue centre. It's actually Battersea Dogs Are Home in Windsor, but it used to be called Belmead Kennels. So I started out there on my dog journey. I worked there, it was like a training college for about a year, and I spent a lot of time obviously around dogs and puppies and boarding dogs as well, and really wanted to understand why they ended up in rescue. And it was there I started really enjoying the behaviour side and the training side. So for me, I wanted to prevent them ending up in rescue, which is what set me off in my journey. So.
Right. And what about the books? How did they come about?
So I've got a little boy who's 6 now, and he actually, while I was pregnant with him, he inspired me to write the books, really, because I felt that obviously in my job, and I'm sure you have the same, you can be out and about with clients, and there's children running up to dogs, and people just obviously not understanding when dogs are not comfortable. So I felt like I wanted to prepare him in advance, as well as other children and parents. So although it's their children books, I think I've aimed it towards adults and children. So
yes,
to help everyone, really.
Yeah, that is the beauty of it. And also the illustrations are really, really cute. And is your husband the illustrator, am I right?
He is. Yeah. He's looking after Logan right now for me. But yeah, absolutely, I got him to illustrate them for me, so it's a new job for him.
Is your husband a bit like mine, that you have to keep nagging him? Have you done it?
He's not too bad in actually doing it, but then obviously I'm then trying to be really tactile about, no, I need the dog's in like face to look like this, and no, he can't be reaching out for the dog, and all of those things. So poor guy had to change him a little bit for me.
Oh, that's great. Is that his job then? Is he a professional illustrator?
No, he's an actor actually.
Oh really? Oh, blimey, okay.
So he just loves drawing, and he's you know, although I asked him to do them simple in my book, he's got a really good eye. He can actually draw really well. So
I think that actually drawing simple things is not that easy, is it?
No, not always, and especially trying to replicate it over and over again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He did a great job. I think the books are appealing to children, but also the explanation are great for adults as well, and it's easy to then display it. Have you thought of a specific age range when you were writing them, or?
So I mean, I've had lots of children read it just from family, and it's gone into a couple of schools as well, like my son's nursery, etc. And I think really the age range would be around 3 to about 10, but that's because 10-year-olds tend to be a bit more interested in older stuff, as they're getting on. But as I said, I think, you know, I've had a lot of reviews, and they've even said that it's really useful for adults too, and that was my journey really, so that the parents would understand as well at the same time as the children what dogs are comfortable with, etc. So
yeah. So have you done any school visits as well? Have you been into schools?
Not yet. I that was my aim initially, but I think I've just been doing, you know, all the other behaviour stuff. I've never got a chance to get into schools. I'm not as brave as to be right in front of all those children either yet. I'd
Children
love to.
can be a tough audience, can they?
Yeah, that's it.
But hopefully, you know, if you go, like, you can start with your son's school, because at least you have one supporter in there.
That's it. Yeah, absolutely.
You got that one. Oh, I'm sure you'll be all right. So I also wanted to know, so you brought 2 books that I can see also in the background. I know you're not supposed to have a favorite, but do you have a favorite?
So ironically, What Dogs Like was, I published this years ago actually, and it's just come back out with my husband's illustrations. But the original book I was comfortable with, but I wanted to tweak some of it, which is why I redone it, and I changed some of the images and some of the wording in it.
Right.
So I would have, before this one come out, I would say definitely Ask the Dog's my favorite, because I was so much more confident with it, because I wanted to change so much about this one. But actually I've changed it now, so I'm really comfortable with the messages I'm getting across, and they've got different messages, of course. So
yeah. So why don't you tell us about the messages? Shall we start with Ask the Dog? That was the one I actually discovered you with, in fact.
That's right. Yeah, so Ask the Dog really come about because a lot of my behaviour sessions, or if I was out with a client and their puppy, we would just have random children just walking up and touching the dogs, or even adults would do it as well, but particularly children would just run up like doggy and, you know, go hands straight in, with no understanding whether some of the clients I'm with are comfortable with dogs, with children, and even puppies. It's a little bit intimidating when, you know, children are running up to them. So Ask the Dog I wrote so that people could literally understand when the dog is saying, yes, it's okay for you to approach, and no, I'd rather you didn't. And also to help adults see that too, when they're out and about, really. So
yeah. And what about What Dogs Like? So
What Dogs Like is more of a generalized understanding of what dogs are comfortable with regards to, say, they need to be left alone when they're sleeping, and when they're eating, and there's times that they don't want to play and they just want to do their own thing. There was also messages in there about being picked up and cuddled, and the things that, you know, everyone expects to get their little puppy, and they carry him around like a little teddy bear, and sometimes, and it's no fault of theirs, obviously, it's just understanding and not being able to read them signals. So my message really was to help people understand the subtle signals before they end up growling, barking and biting. So that's important for me, obviously, because as you probably see all the time, and all of your trainers, you get, it's just those subtle signals that we as humans, you know, we're never bred to read. We read human signals, whereas actually, you know, we're not going to pick up them subtle signals. So I felt like there needed to be something on the market that made it easier for people to understand. So
yeah, oh, that's brilliant, so helpful. And yes, like you said, very often, obviously children, especially when they're very young, they don't know any better. So the fact that parents can have that knowledge and then pass it on to the kids is so important. And that's why, as you pointed out as well, that's why, you know, KAD is here to help these families to, you know, to keep their kids safe and their dogs happy as well.
Yeah, and I think we're growing a nation. If we start young, we're growing children into adults that are then going to understand dog body language better, and it's trying to get it from the ground up. So that's always been my philosophy, is trying to prevent problems in the first place. So
exactly, yeah, that's why we get along so well. the same way of thinking. So I kind of also wanted to know if you have any future projects already lined up. What's ahead for you?
So I just put this out amongst some of my other colleagues because I wanted to ask them the kind of books that they would find useful. So I sort of put it out there for ideas. So I've had some ideas of my own. So with regards to the books, I've got ideas. Some people have mentioned about a book about play and understanding how dogs play and also what's appropriate and what's not. So that's on my list. And how dogs see. So understanding what they see outside in the world, you know, how they take in information and, you know, process information and what's scary and what's not and all of that. So I've got the ideas. Oh,
lost you. Oh, that's a lovely logo.
There you go, sorry.
Okay.
So yeah, I've got the ideas of what we should do, and I want to basically get a series really going of just, and that's why I'd love other trainers and colleagues to get involved so that I can put the rhymes together. So that's the tough bit, is rhyming it and it making sense.
Yeah,
and getting the message across. And then my poor husband has to draw it with me.
Yeah, so, that's it.
So yeah, and understanding, it's a good job he understands a lot of body language now himself.
Oh, that's good, yeah. Yeah, I feel like they have to, our partner, our family in general, they kind of just have to get to know what we know because we just make them. Like all the time I look at dogs with that.
Absolutely. So yeah.
Also, Joanne, I really want to thank you, myself personally, but also from all the KAD approved trainers, because you generously let us access your book as approved trainers. We have a library where we have access to some really important books that can help us as professionals, can help to actually guide better our clients, and to refer as well to families. Look, this book would be great for your kids and stuff. And so I'm really, really grateful that you are part of the KAD library.
You're most welcome. You're most welcome, and I'm honoured to be part of that as well. I'm so pleased. So
brilliant. Thank you so much, Joanne. So good luck with everything that you're going to do in the future. And obviously I'll know everything because I'm going to keep in touch.
No, thank you. It's lovely speaking to you.
Thank you so much. Have a lovely evening.
And you. Bye.
Bye.